For my new subscribers, I do videos every single day. I usually do 3. And if you look at the bottom of your screen where it says the description box of the YouTube video, you will see I have a link there titled Today's Playlist. If you click that link, it will bring up all 3 of my videos and they will play one after the other to make life easier for you. Okay, boys and girls. I'm sure you might have heard about North Korea, and if you come near us and fire one little bullet, we're gonna, sink one of your carriers, or we're gonna attack. What did it say? Kim Jong-un has released a propaganda video in which a U.S. aircraft carrier is blown up while a U.S. strategic bomber is shot down in flames. Now, I heard this like 2 days ago, but Zero Hedge has an article today, the 21st, March 2017. And I want to read that to you. And boy, oh boy, do I think I have a bonus for you regarding this. From a JSNP 4 video circa 2010 titled Realist News, North Korea and the Tipping Point, Dr. Owuor's Prophecy, Part 404. Part 404 is the only one you need to hear. November 29th, 2010. This is that black dude, Dr. Owuor. Dr. Owuor's, I don't know how to pronounce it. This guy, God has spoken to me, yada, yada, yada. And from what I've found over the years, and it's been a long time, by the way, since I've looked at this guy, he's made some predictions, some plane crash stuff he said to look out for, and it seemed like some things that actually happened. Interesting. I usually take a lot of this stuff with a grain of salt. Oh, another wannabe prophet. Oh, here we go, But this guy does have a little bit of a track record. And he has an interesting thing to say about North Korea firing missiles at a U.S. warship carrier and also shooting at South Korea, I believe. So I'm thinking to myself, what are the chances now? It's been, 7 years practically. In November, it'll be 7 years since I found this guy's video. And I'm not quite sure how old it was. I think I'd found it recently at that time. So he's describing then what is about to possibly happen right now. That is quite amazing. Let's start off with a Zero Hedge, and then I'm going to play the video right through my YouTube page. And essentially what I did was copied his video and uploaded it way back when. North Korea blows, this is Zero Hedge, first of all, right now. North Korea blows up U.S. aircraft carrier bomber in the new propaganda video. North Korea's disgruntled dictator, whose fate is looking more precarious by the day, Kim Jong-un, or is it Uno, has released a propaganda video in which a U.S. aircraft carrier is blown up while a U.S. strategic bomber is shot down in flames. The clip also includes footage from the communist state's recent ballistic missile launches are shown alongside a simple message. A knife will be stabbed into the throat of the carrier. The video declares the bomber will fall from the sky after getting hit by a hail of fire. Footage also shows the USS Carl Vinson nuclear-powered aircraft carrier up in flames. The 2-minute clip has emerged just days after Kim threatened to reduce the U.S. to ashes as tensions with North Korea continue to increase, which in turn followed a warning by Tillerson that the U.S. is preparing for a first strike against the irrational dictator while U.S. Special Forces conduct drills in South Korea to eliminate the country's ruler. Now, you'll recall that very recently, the South Korean president, female lady, was abruptly thrown out, indicted on some crap, whatever. And I saw that and I said, I bet there's a reason behind that. I didn't do a video, but you can go look. She was removed. I said, I bet there's a reason behind that. She's been in power all this time. What's the point right now? And I thought, well, Donald Trump's not president. I'm hearing some rhetoric about North Korea. I wonder if she was standing in the way of something, maybe a joint strike, or maybe she was against an attack on North Korea, possibly. They had to get rid of her. I'm just speculating, didn't know. But I find it very interesting that she's thrown out, basically, and almost immediately Rex Tillerson, hey, we may have to do a first strike on North Korea. It comes after a statement earlier this month warned Donald Trump of nuclear destruction if America fires even a single bullet towards Pyongyang. In it, the country warned that the Korean People's Army will reduce the bases of aggression and provocation to ashes with its invincible Hwasong rockets tipped with nuclear warheads and reliably defend the security of the country and its people's happiness in case the U.S. and the South Korean puppet forces fire even a single bullet at the territory of the DPRK. So again, they specifically said South Korea too. We just got rid of her. I'm telling you, this may be going somewhere. The menacing talk comes as South Korea warned over the weekend that its northern neighbor's latest rocket engine test showed meaningful progress. As reported on Sunday, the KCNA news agency said the engine would help the country achieve world-class satellite launch capability, indicating a new type of rocket engine for an intercontinental ballistic missile. In further acts of defiance, North Korea has declared it is not scared of recent U.S. threats of possible preemptive military action to stop its nuclear buildup. U.S. President Donald Trump told reporters he held meetings on North Korea during the weekend at his Florida resort. While he did not refer specifically to the rocket engine test, he said Kim Jong-un was acting very, very badly. Trump and members of his administration have been talking tough on North Korea since the Republican took office back in January. So, is it any coincidence, Donald Trump, we need to increase defense budget prior to this happening, to 56 more billion, higher than we normally would. And he said, and it might even need to be higher than that. So we're going to remove funding from this department, remove funding from that department, remove funding from that department, and then just essentially pay for it over here. So we're not reducing the deficit, we're just moving it to defense. What is the one thing that always happens when they've played all the games they can play with the economy? They've done all the tricks. Federal Reserve is being shown right now as the biggest scam artist, Ponzi scheme fraud. It doesn't know what the hell it's doing. Janet Yellen couldn't answer a logical question if her life depended on it. Or with a logical answer, I should say. Even a simple question with a logical answer. Again, market down today. Whoa! Dow Jones, where did it end at? What did that piece of garbage? 237 points down. Oh! Not looking good. So what do? What does Gerald Celente always say? When they've run out of things to do, it's a cycle. In the end of the cycle, we've played all the paper games, we bailed out the banks, we printed money, massive debt, huge balance sheet of the Federal Reserve. They take you to war. If I may quote Gerald Celente, they take you to war. So, is that a kid? Stand by. Stand by. Okay, I'm back. It was GPS with some batteries. I have this little, what do you call it? A recumbent bike, 2 wheels in the front, 1 wheel in the back. You know, you kind of lay back and pedal with your feet. And I converted it into a 1,000-watt electric trike, the apocalypse trike, if you will. But I also have this thing known as a tuk-tuk or a pedicab, which is kind of like a tricycle, big bike with a big cab thing in the back where people can sit, three or so people can sit in the back, which has a 1,500-watt motor. And I underestimated the battery size needed to, pull extra weight with people in it. It doesn't last very long, so I had to get some extra batteries, and that's what it was. GPS was dropping that off. Thank you very much. And I still need to do a video. Some people were asking me, show us those things. I want to see what they look like. Your apocalypse trike. All right, I shall in another time. So back on basically where I was kind of left off. I'm just going to finish this article and then go right into the video because I've pretty much said all I need to say for now. As a reminder, last Friday, Secretary of State Tillerson announced the policy of strategic patience was over and refused to rule out military action. He said the diplomatic and other efforts of the past 20 years to bring North Korea to a point of denuclearization have failed. So we have 20 years of a failed approach. And that includes a period in which the U.S. provided $1.35 billion in assistance to North Korea as an encouragement to take a different path. He added, if they elevate the threat of their weapons program to a level we believe requires action, that option is on the table. End quote. Meanwhile, as Reuters reported, fearing a possible attack, Japan started staging mass evacuation drills. The first exercise of its kind saw civilians young and old scrambling to cover as air raid sirens wailed. So that's Zero Hedge. I'm now going to take you to JSNIP 4 Hedge of 2010, November 29th, 2010. So I'm going to mute my mic and let this music play or song play while this video plays for you. And this is strictly the guy I'm telling you about, this prophet guy, telling you pretty much exactly what was just described as happening in that propaganda video by the North Koreans, except this was 2010. This could very well lead to someone, but before I start, one little second, give me 1 second. Don't forget, Martin Armstrong said a while back, by the way, 2017, the war card, the war cycle looks like it's rearing its head. 2017 will be the year the war cycle starts to play out. That's what the data was showing him, Martin Armstrong. What are the chances? Again, there's always an enemy when we need one. Isn't that amazing? So anyways, without further ado, let's do this.
I want to share on the prophecy of what is going to happen to your country.
제가 먼저 여러분의 나라에 무슨 일이 일어날 것인지에 대해서 말씀을 드리겠습니다.
Well, when I came to your country, the Lord spoke to me about this nation.
제가 여러분 나라에 왔을 때 이 나라에 대해서 주님께서 말씀해 주셨습니다.
And so far, He has spoken with me 3 times.
오늘까지 주님께서 저에게 3번 말씀하셨습니다.
In dreams.
꿈을 통해서 말씀하셨습니다.
And by His voice.
그리고 그의 음성을 통해서 말씀하셨습니다.
In the first conversation, the Lord spoke to me about a tragic event that is coming to South Korea.
이제 이 남한에 다가오게 될 엄청난 비극에 대해서 주님께서 말씀하셨을 때, 처음으로 말씀하셨을 때,
What do I see coming to South Korea?
도대체 이 남한 땅에 무엇이 올 것인가 하는 것을 제가 보았습니다.
If you have cell phones, you can record this.
만약 여러분들이 핸드폰이 있으시면 이것을 녹음해도 좋습니다.
Because when they happen,
왜냐하면 이제 이 일들이 성취될 때,
then you will remember this moment.
여러분들이 바로 이 순간을 기억하게 될 것입니다.
I see a big warship in the ocean.
저는 바다에 엄청나게 큰 군함을 보았습니다.
It looks more like an aircraft carrier.
그것은 항공모함과 같이 보였습니다.
And it is in the ocean.
그것이 바다에 떠 있었습니다.
And then the Lord made me look into the sky.
근데 주님께서 저로 하여금 하늘을 보게 하셨습니다.
And then I saw a rain of missiles.
그리고 제가 본 것은 미사일이 비 오듯 쏟아지는 것이었습니다.
That covered the sky.
마치 그 미사일이 하늘을 덮어버린 것 같이 그렇게 날아오는 것을 보았습니다.
At first, I did not know they were missiles.
처음엔 제가 그것이 미사일인지 몰랐습니다.
Because there were many in the sky.
뭔가가 하늘에 많이 있는 것으로만 알았습니다.
And then all of a sudden, they strike that warship.
그런데 갑자기 그 미사일이 군함을 치유시키고 말았습니다.
I'm not sure whether all of them strike the worship or just a few and others strike the water.
제가 확실하지 않는 것은 그 미사일 전부가 다 이 항공모함에 떨어진 건지 아니면 몇 개가 항공모함에 떨어지고 나머지는 바다에 떨어졌는지 그건 제가 알 수 없습니다.
But anyhow, the warship is struck.
어쨌거나 바로 그 항공모함이 격추되었습니다.
And when that happens, I see the tower of the warship. There is a tower. I see there is a tower.
그래서 이제 그 미사일이 그 항공모함을 폭격했을 때 그 항공모함의 그 관제탑, 그 탑이 높이 솟은 걸 보았는데요.
And it catches fire.
그곳에 불이 붙은 것을 보았습니다.
And then the next moment, I see the warship has collapsed into water and gone deep into water.
그 이후로 제가 본 것은 그 군함이 완전히 이제 기울어져서 바다에 가라앉는 것을 보았습니다.
Totally destroyed.
그 군함은 그 항모함은 완벽하게 파괴되었습니다.
After that,
그 일이 있은 후에
the next night,
그 다음 날 밤에
the Lord again came and spoke with me about what is coming to South Korea.
주님께서 다시 저에게 찾아오셔서 무엇이 이 남한 땅에 닥칠 것인가를 말씀해 주셨습니다.
And then this time, I thought it was an aircraft.
이번에는 제가 그것이 비행기인가 그렇게 생각했습니다.
But I wondered in the dream, why is this aircraft carrying a missile on its back?
그런데 이 비행기가 왜 뒤쪽에 미사일을 장착하고 있는가라고 생각했습니다.
Only after 2 days when the Lord came and showed it to me again.
그런데 이틀이 지난 다음에 주님이 다시 저에게 찾아오셔서 그것을 다시 보여주셨을 때 제가 깨달았습니다.
Was I more enlightened?
그것이 좀 더 저에게 분명하게 환하게 다가왔습니다.
And I realized it is not an aircraft.
그제서야 제가 그것이 비행기가 아니라는 것을 알았습니다.
In fact, it is a truck,
그것은 트럭이었습니다.
a military truck,
군용 트럭이었습니다.
and it is carrying a missile on its back.
그리고 군용 트럭 그 뒤편에 미사일을 장착한 것을 보았습니다.
And I was very surprised in that dream
저는 그 꿈속에서 굉장히 놀랐습니다.
that the truck fired the missile
왜냐하면 그 트럭에서 미사일이 발사되었기 때문입니다.
in the way the Lord speaks.
근데 주님께서 저에게 말씀하시는 방법으로 보아서
He normally puts me in that situation there.
보통 주님께서는 그런 예언을 주실 때 그 현장에 저를 갖다 두십니다.
So I also run for my life.
그래서 제가 그 현장 속에서 저도 제 목숨을 구하기 위해서 도망가는 것을 볼 수 있습니다.
He makes me feel what the people will feel when that prophecy is fulfilled.
다시 말하면 그런 예언이 성취되었을 때 그 장소에 있는 사람들이 어떻게 느끼는가를 저도 똑같이 느끼게 해주십니다.
So I see a truck carrying a missile.
그래서 제가 이 트럭에서 미사일이 발사되는 것을 보았습니다.
And when it fired the missile,
그 트럭에서 미사일이 발사된 다음에
the missile came to your country.
그 미사일이 여러분의 나라에 떨어졌습니다.
And it was very target specific.
그런데 그 미사일은 그 목표물을 정확하게 맞추었습니다.
So I'm back. And the funny thing, not that this is funny, but the funny thing was that when I heard this rhetoric about North Korea, it instantly made me think, what was that prophet guy's name? Man, he described this. My dad was telling me about this guy back then, you know, and so I went and looked him up, watched some of his videos, and he made some claims and stuff, but I never really kept up with it. And as I was searching for him today to find a video about that particular prophecy, about the North Korean thing, aircraft carrier attack, I'm seeing other people's video. Hey, he got this one right. Hey, he got that one right. Hey, the airplane crash, he got that right. You know, his name. So I'm like, oh, that's interesting. And I'm scrolling down. What about the aircraft carrier? Where's the air? And then I see I see my own ugly face. What the? That's me. That's my video. What is this? Part 404. Oh my gosh, that's the one. I didn't realize, again, it's 7 years ago, practically, almost 6.5 years ago. I didn't remember that I actually did a video on the specific thing showing him uploading his video. I thought maybe I'd just talk about it, but I hit play. Oh my goodness, I've uploaded this guy's video to show people. Fantastic. So what are the chances that I found a video of myself from 6.5 years ago about this? I was pretty excited about that. You know, oh, there's me. I don't remember that. You know, again, I've only got 2,700 something videos on YouTube. You know, forgive me if I don't remember which video I did at what time. But this is very interesting. Again, we are in a war cycle now, apparently. This is something to be concerned with. I wonder if I can find Martin Armstrong war cycle. 2017, I should say. War cycle on target. Sad to say, Armstrong Economics. So what does he have to say? And when does he have to say it? October 11th, 2016. So again, it's just 4 or 5 months ago. All indications are now pointing to war between the U.S. and Russia. It appears the powers that be in Washington fear a Trump victory, and he would end nation building. So again, this is right before the election, so that's why he's saying USA and Russia. Because if Hillary gets in there, that was what he was saying would be expected. But we got a Trump. So if we get a Trump, does that mean the war cycle is not on point anymore? Not necessarily. A cycle is a cycle is a cycle. So even though he's saying that, the opposite occurred as far as who they thought was going to win actually won. That was Trump. Oh, well, the war card's gone. No, it's not. Maybe you didn't just hear what I just told you about North Korea. The military needs to start a war now because if Trump were elected, he would not go along with this mess. Even Russian TV is talking about war in the aftermath of the collapse of ceasefire efforts in Syria, as the Obama administration and Russia accused each other of sinking diplomacy, and Moscow is now increasing its military presence on all yada yada yada. The end, he says, this gives me no pleasure to see this model, his model, performing with this degree of accuracy. Obviously, a war with Russia will impact European currencies and send capital fleeing to the dollar, fulfilling yet another model. I'm going to click on this. What's that? Cycle of war and political change. I'm going to zoom in on this. Let's just take a look at this. This is his cycle. 25.049 years, cycle of war and political change. So it's both. Wheeler Index of War, 1939, 1914. Okay, so you can see it kind of building. 64, Gulf of Tonkin, September 89? Russia and China. And this is 1990, this is 2010 it looks like over here. So here we are down here, and it's looking like, see all these little down peaks? It's like these little down peaks here, whatever you want to call them. Or I guess not a peak, but the lows, we'll call it, usually correspond with the war. So here we are over here, and I know it stops in 2010, or is that 2000? Let's see, 1980, 70, 80, 90, this is just 2000. So from the top, I'm trying to gauge how far this is. It's 10 years apiece. 2010 would be about here, about the halfway point. So 2020, we're at the very bottom again. Well, we're not quite there, and it's not exactly perfectly accurate because this is 2000 over here, not at the very top of the peak. So anyways, this could be right on the money. And although Mr. Armstrong is looking at current events at that time, October, saying, oh, well, you know, it's clear Clinton's probably going to win, and it's going to be against Russia and all that stuff. Well, the opposite happened. Trump got in, and he's not against Russia. Oh, good. You know, the war card can sell down. No, wait a minute. There's another boogeyman. North Korea all of a sudden. Again, there's an enemy whenever we need one. It's amazing. So I'll be honest, I would not take this lightly, this whole thing with North Korea right now. Especially after seeing that guy's prophetic vision or whatever he called it. With stunning accuracy as far as what the North Korean propaganda video showed happening. That this is what we're going to do if you mess with us. Sink a carrier, no kidding. Rain down missiles, no kidding. So, anyways, just keep that in mind. Matter of fact, while we're here, let me open up Google. What happens to the stock market when there is a war? What happens to the market if America goes to war? Blogs, CF Payne Institute. Stock market hates uncertainty. War does not necessarily imply lackluster returns. Quite the contrary, stocks have outperformed their longer-term averages during wars. On the other hand, bonds, usually a safe harbor during tumultuous times, have performed below their historic averages during periods of war. So my question would be, since we're already in massive bubble territory on every freaking thing, and the Dow Jones is down 200-something points, is a war going to start? Oh, markets re-rally. Or, this time, because everything's a bubble, war doesn't mean anything, markets crash. Stock market's down today due to uncertainty with North Korea. Don't know. But I got a sneaky suspicion we's about to find out. Take care.